Blender can be used to create just about anything you can think of. And it all starts with modeling. It's pretty insane to think that a bunch of numbers and math functions can spit out something that looks as cool as this. But here is how it works. In any three-dimensional space, you have an x, y and a z axis. In that virtual space, you can place points whose location is determined by an x, y and a z value. These points don't have any size or rotation. So they are just a collection of those three numbers. We call these points as vertices. When you connect two vertices, they become an edge, and two or more edges connect, they become a face. All 3D mesh objects are made up of arrangements of these vertex, edge and face components. If you really wanted to, you could build a cube in a text editor and import it into Blender, and it would actually work. If this looks like a terribly tedious process, it's because it is. But don't worry, you will never have to do this. Unlike the brave animators that worked on Toy Story and other early films. Thankfully, there are a ton of tools that makes the job much easier, and you will probably never have to think about the math again after you finish this video. I just wanted you to be exposed to the idea of how it all works behind the scenes, so that the behavior of tools that we will look at later on down the road will make more intuitive sense for you. When it comes to making whatever it is that you want to make, whether that's games, animations or anything in between, modeling is pretty much always going to be your first step. It will take some time to get comfortable with, since there are a lot of things to learn. But the more you practice, the easier and faster it will be. Besides mesh objects that are made out of vertices, edges and faces, there are a few other type of objects in Blender that can also be used for modeling. Curves have vertices as well, but their connections are smoother transitions between points that you can control with handles. This will be familiar to you if you have used softwares like Photoshop, Illustrator or Inkscape. Surfaces, also called as NURBS, are like curves that are filled with three dimensions. You probably won't be using them in Blender, but if you end up using a software like AutoCAD, you will learn more about them. Metaballs are really fun to mess with. They are the shapes. Metaballs can be used to quickly rough out shape for sculpting, which is a really fun mesh editing topic. You will learn about it in a following course. Lastly, there's text, which allows you to type stuff out in 3D using fonts. In this course, though I will be walking you through the basics of how to model in Blender with mesh objects, since those are what you will be working with 99% of the time. In this course though, we will be walking you through the basics of how to model in Blender using mesh objects, since those are what you will be working with 99% of the time. Since everything may be pretty new to you, don't feel like you have to memorize everything right away or understand the meaning behind every new term you just learn. I really want to stress that the best way to learn is to just dive in headfirst with me here. Even if it's a bit overwhelming, just watch the lesson and try to replicate what you see and what I am going to say. If you do that, then you will be ready for the exercises at the end of each session and the courses following. If you have any questions about something that you are learning here, feel free to ask about it in the comments below the video. Also, you always head over to the Blender community. We have one of the most friendly and helpful Blender communities out there, and it's really a great place where everyone can learn together. With those things in mind, let's jump into Blender and start modeling.